Everyone's always got this idea that Netflix period dramas are just soap operas with fancy costumes, but buried in the catalog are hidden gems that pull you into real history, from medieval Barcelona to 1930s England to the fall of the Romanovs. So here are 10 underrated period dramas streaming in September 2025, all worth a look. First up is Bonnie and Clyde from 2013. It's a two-part miniseries about Clyde Barrow and Bonnie Parker and their run of bank robberies across the Midwest. They brought in a solid cast: Emile Hirsch, Holiday Granger, William Hurt, Holly Hunter. There was a lot of hype before it aired, and you can see why. This is the director of Driving Miss Daisy, Bruce Beresford. First, the good stuff. Visually, it's way above what you usually get from a TV movie. The cinematography is excellent, the 1930s vibe feels real, the sound design works, and William Hurt in particular is great. The cars, the weapons, the set design, even the color grading. It all does a lot to put you in the 1930s. And Hirsch and Granger do a nice job as the leads. But there's also a lot of creative license here. The script leans heavily into making Bonnie the mastermind, almost rewriting history just to give her more to do. The real story is a lot messier. Clyde was the hard case criminal, the one with zero hesitation, but here, Bonnie's driving everything. So you get a good-looking, well-acted period piece, but the facts are not exactly textbook. Still, as a TV event, it's one of the better attempts at retelling that story. The Dig is a small movie, but it sticks with you. Set in late 1930s England right before the war, Carey Mulligan plays Edith Pretty, who hires an amateur archaeologist, Basil Brown, Rafe Fiennes, to excavate some burial mounds on her land. What they end up finding is a ship from the Dark Ages, real-life Sutton Hoo, one of the biggest Anglo-Saxon discoveries ever. Most of that treasure's now in the British Museum. The whole thing is understated. There's no manufactured drama or Hollywood moment. The film's got this slow burn feel, where even the smaller scenes hit hard. Production-wise, it's impressive. Everything's there. The costumes, the atmosphere, the look of the countryside. It manages to turn archaeology, not the most exciting subject on paper, into something compelling just by letting the story breathe. If you like British history, or you want something quieter, this one's a gem. Passing is something different. A 1920s New York story, all shot in black and white. Rebecca Hall directed and wrote this. This is actually her first film as a director, adapting Nella Larsen's 1929 novel. Tessa Thompson plays a black woman whose life gets turned upside down when she reconnects with a childhood friend, Ruth Nega, whose passing is white. There's a lot going on under the surface. Hall directs with a light touch. She holds shots, lets the actors work. Thompson and Nega play off each other in these quiet, tense scenes. The supporting cast, Andre Holland, Alexander Skarsgård, is strong too. This isn't a film that spells everything out, and sometimes it leaves the character motivations a bit hazy, maybe even a little rushed. But it nails the emotional stakes, especially that sense of longing, and the cost of pretending to be someone you're not. And visually, it's one of the better-looking indie films from the past few years. Most people know Tyler Perry for comedies, but A Jazzman's Blues is him aiming for a serious, old-fashioned period melodrama. It's set in the 1940s rural Georgia, two young African-American leads trying to make it work in a place where just existing is dangerous. The story follows Bayou, a sensitive kid from a family of musicians falling in love and then getting caught up in everything ugly about the time. Racism, violence, the threat of lynching hanging over everything. The film jumps back and forth in time, showing just how high the stakes are for these characters. It's not perfect. The pacing drags, the film's way too long, and some of the drama gets heavy-handed. But there are moments where it clicks. Perry does a good job with the emotion. The music and singing scenes are a highlight, and the supporting cast is solid. Amira Van and her singing definitely stands out. Heirs to the Land takes you back to 14th century Barcelona, and what's interesting here is that it's about everyday life, the regular people, not just royalty or knights. 8 episodes, Spanish language, and it's best watched with subtitles. Dubbing just kills the atmosphere here. The main character is Hugo, a young guy trying to make his way in a society stacked against him, all while keeping a promise to a powerful family. The show covers a lot: Christians, Jews, Muslims, women, slaves, how everyone fits into the world, and how they get squeezed by people at the top. The story moves fast, lots of twists and turns, and not all of them are predictable. Production-wise, this is another one that looks great. Sets, costumes, music, all top-notch. If you want sword fights, they're in here. But the real draw is the world building. It's not just about lords and castles. You get a sense of what it was actually like for regular people, which is rare in these kinds of dramas. This one is a Spanish-language epic with a marathon 72 episodes. Three sisters from a wealthy family in early 1800s Colombia become spies, slipping information to rebels while trying to get justice for their mother, who was killed by the Spanish army. It's got a little bit of everything: sword fights, shootouts, secret missions. Sometimes the military tactics go off the rails. Let's just say, don't come to this for the realism in battlefield strategy. Still, it works because the performances are solid and the writing keeps the tension going, even when the plot gets super far-fetched at times. Think Three Musketeers, but with a trio of women who know how to fight and scheme, and the lying might be their most dangerous weapon. This new series tackles the story of a Sicilian aristocratic family caught in the chaos of Italy's late, messy unification. It's a remake of the 1963 Luchino Visconti film, the one with Burt Lancaster and Alain Delon. What makes this story work is Don Fabrizio. He's privileged, absolutely, but the character is more complicated than that. He's sharp, stubborn, sometimes harsh, sometimes unexpectedly principled. You really get a sense of how Italy wasn't just one country overnight. There's tension between North and South, the role of the church, the old world, and the new. The visuals are gorgeous, and it's obvious the production cared about the details. If you like the series, go back and read the book it's based on. Or watch the original Visconti film, too. These different versions all add something. The Empress is Netflix's big German-language hit. 2 seasons, all palace drama. This is the story of Emperor Franz Joseph and Elizabeth, the Sisi who basically redefined what royalty looked like for a generation. Does it play fast and loose with the real history? Definitely. But if you can get past that, it's a fantastic drama. Intrigue, family politics, plenty of beautifully shot exteriors, and those classic over-the-top costumes. The acting is strong right across the board, and even with the subtitles, it never feels like you're missing anything. Sometimes the English translation drops in an awkward modern word, but for the most part, it's seamless. I've got no problem recommending this, just don't use it for your history class. This one's a prequel short film. Basically, a standalone episode about how 100 Eyes, the legendary assassin and teacher from the Marco Polo series, lost his sight and ended up in service to Kublai Khan. It's quick, but it's well done. The cast is stacked. Benedict Wong, Tom Wu, Michelle Yeoh all show up, so you can expect some good acting here. Emmy winner Alex Sakharov directs, and the production values are right up there with the main show. If you're a fan of Marco Polo, you'll want to see this. Fills in a lot of backstory with some genuinely tense moments. They were planning to spin this off into a series, but the numbers just weren't there. Still, it's a strong entry on its own. This one is a docudrama covering the collapse of Russia's Romanov dynasty, with Ben Cartwright as Rasputin, doing a performance that's about as unhinged as the real guy probably was. This one mixes dramatic scenes with straight documentary, so you'll get interviews and then you're back in the palace, watching the downfall unfold. That format is a bit weird at first, but it actually works. They balance the drama and the context without getting in each other's way. The show doesn't stick too close to the facts. You never want to trust Netflix for actual history. But it nails the atmosphere and really shows just how unstable things were for the Romanovs in those final years. The costumes and sets are top-notch. The only downside, some unnecessary sex scenes got thrown in. This is not Bridgerton, and they don't add anything, but the rest of the production makes up for it.